Breaking news. The Gendroni Orcs have joined the war against Taealar. Earlier, the Chaharian Emperor enlisted the help of their Orcish allies and sent the Gendroni warriors with Chaharian reinforcements to the Dominion Tree where the Chaharians were held up. The Gendroni ravaged the battlefield and utterly destroyed the Taean siege. The Chaharian soldiers followed behind the Orcish tsunami and completely took control of the city in the Dominion Tree and hold the city to this day. But as one side of the Great Eastern Alliance is winning and taking over the battlefield, one side is losing and retreating further and further into their own land. We turn now to the south of Aetos and the Canyon of Suryn, where the dwarves have pushed the Anûn far into the canyon. Dr. Scientist Ethan has been keeping a close eye on the Dwarvo-Elven side of the war. Doctor, what do you have to say on this interesting event?
It's more like a turn of events from what I've seen, Ethan. The dwarven tanks were sent south to dissipate the elven threat. They expected it to be a short, easy mission, either taking out the elves or force them to retreat. That's exactly what the dwarves did for the first few weeks. They battled the elves, their superior technology making it nearly impossible for the elves to advance. Then the elves would retreat. This repeated over and over until the elves were pushed beyond the border of their lands at the lip of the Canyon of Suryn. The elves likely expected the dwarves to disengage and go back to the north to aid the Taeans, but at this point the dwarven patience had already long waned. In this, the Anûn greatly miscalculated the Alani. With a raging iron fist, the Alani King Corsus ordered his enemy to obliterate the elves, and the hearts of every single dwarf echoed the same sentiment. So the dwarves continued chasing the now exhausted elves into the Canyon of Suryn. The elves did not play their cards in the right order, and now they are paying for it and are faced with the brunt of the dwarven anger. What they will do to respond to the dwarvish threat, I have no idea, but they better call for help to organize themselves before the dwarves carve their way to the elvish capital.
Meanwhile, as the East and West fight amongst themselves, the war in the Zedan Islands has a bud of hope blooming for the Zedans after the strong attack of the Iron Armada, as a wealthy Taean family backs the Zedan war effort. The family's patriarch is Doran Polanon, a leading inventor and investor in the Taean scene. Rumors have spread that Doran and the Polanons have fled Taealar and have moved their household and fortune to Zeda, where they will financially back the Zedan war effort. The Zedans will certainly have much more hope now that they have help. We return now to the battle between Taealar, Chahar, and Gendron, and to Ethan number 3 as he joins us today on the battlefield. Ethan number 3, it is great to see you safe and finally out of the Dominion Tree. How are you, and how is the battle going?
Hello, Ethan. It is great to hear from you. As you can guess, I am very happy to be out of the Dominion Tree and on the field once more. The battle is very much going the way of the Chaharians and Gendroni. Luckily, Aetos hasn't seen Gendron fight outside of Gendron in a long time. The Orcs are brutal and very efficient. They fight like wolves in packs and can swiftly take out an entire army, and with the firepower from Chaharian cannons, the Chaharo-Gendroni forces utterly obliterate the Taeans.
That is very interesting, Ethan number 3. I just pray those Taeans will find a way to survive. Tell us, Ethan, what was it like in the Dominion Tree during the siege and during our rescue?
It was very slow, Ethan number 1. There weren't very many of us in the city, but even so, rations were soon running low, and we were cut off from any water. It was very discouraging to wake up every morning to see the Taean forces below, waiting to either starve you out or kill you with an arrow. The day of our rescue was glorious. We woke up that morning to much the same, but before midday, the Taean forces suddenly went on the move, organizing a random defense formation to the east. That's when we spotted the Gendroni forces marching swiftly over the hills, followed by the Chaharian forces and the massive artillery cannons. I tried to stay politically neutral, but boy was I glad that day to see the Chaharians, and I'm sure you could assume that I was rooting for them. The battle lasted long into the day. The Taeans did not want to give up their siege, and the Orcs were testing the waters. The battle lasted another 4 days before the Taeans had to retreat, and the Chaharians greeted us at the gates.
Well, Ethan number 3, we are again very glad to see you alive and well. The tides of war change across the continent ferociously. All we can do now is wait and see what happens, but until then... Wait, hold on. Hold the cameras. I'm just now getting that the Dronlandi Vikings are on the move and headed for Ima Turida. My producer says that the Ima Turidans were warned by the Eloralic Oracle
that such a storm would be coming from the north, but they did nothing to prepare themselves. I am told that they are currently meeting in their own town square to discuss what they will do next. For viewers who aren't aware, the Laurels have continued in peaceful neutrality for centuries and stick to their resolve religiously. What this means for Ima Turida and Taealar, their protectors, I have no idea, but we will dive into the invasion right after this break.
What's up, guys? This is actually going to be the final news video of this format. I might think of something different for the news format, but just in this kind of animated-ish style, this is going to be the last one. So I will continue to keep you guys updated on the lore of Aetos, but it might not be the same as this. See y'all next time. Peace.